So I guess we're gonna kick it off. Nat joins in. I don't know. He told me he'd be here, but might be running late. Might ran into some issues somewhere. So we're gonna kick it off for now. It's been a pretty productive week over at STX London. We've been trying to set up more things for our community members. More ways we can interact, whether it's online events like this one or it's digital media like YouTube videos, like how to, etc. We've been really trying to buckle down on what we bring to you guys because it's super important that we keep our community engaged. We like engaging with you guys. And it's just honestly something that we wanted to do. We want to bring more value to our community. We want to bring more to our community members. We want them to be able to benefit from us being here. With that being said, I believe it was the NodeRocks. Discord that had actually been hacked. Not 100% sure the details behind it, but there's been a couple other communities, and Discord hacks are kind of a known thing that happened. I believe this one was from a link that led into the Discord, but it wasn't like a legitimate Discord link. I think someone could have linked that, took them, that allowed whoever to gain access to that information when they used the link into that Discord. So they're still getting into that Discord. It just wasn't through an actual Discord link, and it was some nonsense. I know NodeRocks is building a new Discord, and they definitely tell people not to go to their old one. But guys, first things first. Let's not click random links. Let's just not do it. If you don't know what the link is, or if the link looks funny, like we all should know what a Discord link looks like by now, or a Google link, or just we should know what a normal link looks like. If it doesn't look normal, I'd refrain from clicking it. Then you got password security. Let's go over that. Yes, they recommend that you keep your password upper lowercase letters and numbers, and maybe even some special characters. But what they don't tell you is that you should just generate a password and keep it somewhere safe and almost like a lockbox. I mean, they make a digital, like almost like a digital storage for passwords. It's called KeyPass. I use it. It's amazing. You have one master password, and then you can unlock just your KeyPass. Then once you open that up, you can have a whole bunch of different sets of passwords for almost everything. I usually don't use the same password twice. So I'll just generate or type out a random password with random characters, letters, and numbers, and I will copy and paste it right into my KeyPass and save it there. You can also keep a digital copy of that KeyPass file somewhere else, like on a USB or on an SD card. It's just better to be safe. Don't Combinations of words can still be hacked. And definitely don't make it like your hometown, your kid's name, or something really silly, because those are the first ones to get hacked. So yeah, we're gonna touch on that. We touched on that a little bit. I don't know if you guys have any questions, or if you guys want to hop up here, feel free to raise your hand. I hate just kind of talking to myself at times. That's why I love having other co-hosts and hosts up here, or speakers, because I can always bounce the conversation back and forth a little bit. I feel like when it's just me talking, it gets almost a tad bit stale, and I start running out of things to talk about. That's something I'll fix and get better at. What's up, Wallace? I'll bring you on up, man. Yo. Oh, shoot. Yeah, I'll bring you up too, Kevio. How do I... Sweet, dude. Yeah, I'll bring you both up. I love this. little group discussion we got going on here. We're gonna normally our spaces can be a bit bigger. So what's up, Kevio? Lawless? You guys good, huh?
Yeah, man, I'm good, man. Good. Just chiming in like I did last week. More interesting stuff to talk about. But I did what you're saying about the hack thing. That's kind of smart as well. Like I didn't really pay that much attention to it, but now you're saying it, it's quite easy to be hacked. So yeah, I think I'm gonna change a couple of passwords. And I don't open any links that I don't know anyway. So that's that. I thought that was just standard procedure, to be honest.
Yeah. It happened to me just the other day with the Welsh community.
Yep.
I don't.
Okay. Welsh was the other one. It was Node Rocks and Welsh. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I think I might have been the first one on Welsh that it actually happened to. I've been in the space for since 2017. Really don't open links and do anything like that. Only reason I opened this one was it was in the announcement section, and it came. Well, it looked like it came from Razor. So as soon as I got the notification, I opened it up to see it. I said, "Well, let me hurry up and get in here and get it since it was coming from him." And so yeah, when I did it, and then I noticed what happened. That's why I took screenshots and went into the group, made a post about it, and then they, whoever it was, blocked me instantly when I told them it was a scam. And then I went on Twitter right away and made a post on Twitter. But yeah, that was the first time. I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years it's happened to me, and for sure it'll be the last one. So from now on, yeah, I don't care who it is. Any links,
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna miss that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Or let someone else say, "Oh, this is the link." Yeah, yeah. You gonna. Unless I know where it's coming from, I'm not gonna click on it now. Like, especially after what you just said as well. It's like it looked legit as well. So I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that. I'll let everyone else.
Yeah,
Oh, Lawless man, where are you? I'm like, oh, is this the link? Can someone send me the link that I know, please? Because I'm not gonna click on it and mess it. So that's valid. Thanks for that.
Nice. Yeah, man. So I just typically thought of like Web3 communities as typically more secure. Like everyone has more of a heightened sense than like Web2 communities about like Web2 versus Web3. You'd think like the heightened sense of protection and security. You would think you'd people would be more aware, but I mean, it happens all the time where you just aren't really paying attention or don't realize a link's kind of off, or you know someone for instance, I've had 2 or 3 people start discords using my name on Discord and profile picture and trying to hack people and scam them on like day trading and stuff, and I'm like, yo. So I've had people hit me up about that and send me screenshots. So it's just a little
Whoa.
bit. I'm gonna bring Atlas up here though, maybe get caught up to speed on where we're at.
Yeah, that's nuts. Using your profile as well. That's mad.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen it happening to a few people actually. Definitely, only since I've started like in stacks a couple years back. So I've seen it happen to me twice. I've seen it happen to a couple other people, but typically we can get those accounts reported pretty quickly. But sometimes it happens overnight when you're sleeping. You wake up to a ton of messages like, "Hey, is this you messaging me?" I'm like, no.
Whoa.
Yo, Atlas, what's
So
up,
if
man?
like the other gentleman said, that like as it happens, I like what he did. He took screenshots and then put it in a group. So that's the best way to do it if it does happen to you. If you find yourself in that position, what's the best thing to do?
Pray that they didn't get too much vital information. You can, like, for instance, like what happened to him or what happened to me, where someone used my profile pic and name. So what happened to me is I apologized to everyone who, got message from that account, but we all kind of went and reported it. So that account got taken down. Um, but what happened to him, yeah, it's best to just let the community know and resecure any passwords that may have been exposed. Like if your account's been hacked, you need to change it.
yeah. This one was kind of slick. This one was a link to get into MetaMask. I use my fingerprint, so I don't never enter in anything. So yeah, you can't get in like that for me. But the thing was, every time you clicked on it, it would like send the transaction, like it would look like it failed. And so if you click on it again, every time you click on it, it takes something out of your MetaMask. So I think I clicked on it twice or three times, and then when I got a notification that my texting was going, I was like, "Whoa!" Yeah, let me see what's really happening here, and then that's when I did what I did, notifying everybody.
Whoa, that's
Oh
crazy.
wow, man. Yeah, yeah. Screw that. So honestly, us at Stacks London have been trying to make a switch away from Discord ourselves, because for the reason that's just not really that secure. Um, we've been trying to pull our communities over to Console, which is more Web3 based. You know, you log in using your wallet, and I just think it's a much easier way to verify who you are rather than having to, yeah, like you said, get after, for instance, someone sends you the wrong link, and you end up getting hacked that way. But I don't know, man. Console just all around seems more secure. I was gonna try and see if we could get Chris to come in here and verify that for us, but he seems to be busy today, so we're just gonna have to roll on without him. Nat, you got anything you want to add to that, man?
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. That's good, everyone. Yeah, sorry, my battery did die before, so I was just like charging the battery. Didn't get to join on time, but how's everyone going this evening?
I'm doing all right. Just chilling.
Yeah. I hear what you lot are saying about this kind of like level of security that you should have, or caution that you should have to your level of security, should I say, when operating within the space. And that is it Kevo, like that same contract what you're talking about, or a similar type of contract, is basically what they put into the Welsh community the other day. So like loads of people were like fucking going to this thing like, hey, I'm gonna mint some Welsh on ETH or whatever. And yeah, people were like clicking and then saying, hey, like all of my balance is gone and whatever else. So
That's what happened to him. It
yeah, so
was the Welsh
what that
community.
contract does is
Yeah.
it basically creates a contract call that calls a contract that contract can make other contracts. So you're just literally sitting there signing away the rights to everything in your wallet every single time that you click again, and it requests again, and it just keeps going. The one that happened to Welsh was in balance order, so it was going like from the top balance down to the bottom balance. And I know that because when I connected, it asked me straight away for the balance. It asked straight away for the other permission. I rejected it, and then it asked me again for the next balance down. Then I rejected it, then it asked me for the next balance down. So I just literally just clicked to reject, and it like then disconnected my wallet from the site, so it wouldn't keep requesting. So yeah, and then I posted, actually. Let me see if I can find that link. Posted another link. Sorry, so there's a little service that you can use. This is if you are using Ethereum, obviously, right? There's a service that you can use called Revoke. That if you have signed these messages and it hasn't yet taken your funds, you can revoke these contract calls. So yeah, like that's just literally what I would say, and that people just need to be 100% more cautious as in to what they're doing, and just don't sign anything that is requesting to do anything with your wallet, really, unless you know 100% what it's doing.
Wow, that's absolutely crazy. So it would keep taking your Bitcoin out of your wallet every single time you hit refresh.
Well, this particular contract that is on ETH, because you can't do those kind of contracts on Clarity. It won't work for stacks, and like, you know, on Bitcoin, you know, it's not going to work on Bitcoin L1. That's certain. However, there is a trick that you can do with PSBTs, yeah, on Bitcoin, yeah, which is like partially signed Bitcoin transactions, which is the same thing that they use to do, let's say, BRC20 listings and stuff like that, right? So what you can do with PSBTs is you can basically promise a payment later, yeah. So it's almost the same thing, but what it is like opening, when you sign a PSBT transaction, you're opening whoever has created that PSBT to basically be able to complete the transaction. So it's like when you say partially signed, it's like, okay, you signed. It's like almost signing a blank check in a way. If somebody did this with a PSBT, because you'd be signing to say that this person could basically take the rest of the Bitcoin out of your wallet. So people can do it with PSBTs, but it's not as advanced, and it's much more easier to spot, I'd say, if you're doing it with a PSBT, because there's no smart contract in between. It's just like an instruction. It's like an open set of instructions instead.
Wow, that's mad. But it's good to know this, guys.
Yeah, so I just flung that link top there to that tweet that I put out yesterday. It was yesterday or the day before. But yeah, like as I've there's a tweet before that where I said is that, like, for me, there was two major red flags. And the first major red flag was that it was a Stacks project doing the Ethereum airdrop, and there was only one announcement for this airdrop. So it wasn't on Twitter, it wasn't anywhere else. It was only inside of their Discord. So the next thing that I did was made a comment about the airdrop, and I said, hey, basically I've connected, but what do I do next? And the comment was deleted from the Discord. So at this point, I already knew that the Discord was probably compromised, or it was just fucking something wrong with the server, right? So again, once I then did press connect to my wallet, it then triggered the contract, or the site, then triggered the contract to say to me, this is your balance or whatever. Can you give us this to do, or to sign off on? And when I looked, it was basically a contract that gives them unlimited rights to that particular token, and then or unlimited withdrawal amount capacity, shall I say, right, for that token. And when I rejected it, it just asked me for the next token that had the next most value in my wallet, and then so on and so forth. So it's pretty easy for again, somebody who's doing just a basic level of due diligence just happening.
Yeah, but the other thing that worries me is like, what if you're naive to all of this and you think, oh yeah, I'll just click. But that's what I'm saying. I don't click on links, but that's nuts. And as soon as you started raising questions, then that was the red flag, I suppose. As soon as, and the other gentleman said he got blocked as soon as he mentioned it to the group, he got blocked. So I can understand how these hackers are trying to think, but where people are naive, it could be quite dangerous, right?
Yeah, and I think the madness of it is as well that apparently the way that again, I'm not going to say, I'm not speaking for, because this is like a similar situation with 2 or 3 projects right about now, but the way that particular Welsh one happened, from what Rosa says in his status, is that there was some kind of link that maybe himself, I think another member of the admin, had clicked, and that link is what started everything off. So again, people say again about clicking links, so on and so forth. Like, I'm very particular with Discord links, like myself. And I don't know, like, I mean, look, you can be extra cautious and just not click anything, or kind of just be a bit more cautious to, like, knowing what you're clicking. Like, you tend to, when it comes to stuff like Discord invites, anything to do with crypto stuff, right, I tend to do this thing called, like, just hovering. I just hover over the link, and you can see if it's like another link or not, right? So, and obviously you can do that on any website, right? So anywhere you see a link that's like that, you can just hover that link in your browser. I mean, if you're doing it from your phone, it's slightly different, because you might not notice, like, like some kind of extra link in front of a link or something like that, right? So you might not notice that, but on your computer, it should be pretty easy to notice, because you should be able to see there is like this link, let's say on my screen says discord whatever.com, but when I hover over it, it's got some weird URL. Then you kind of like know that, hold on, wait a second, like, there's something wrong here. So there's various different ways and stages of these kind of scams and phishing shall we say, attacks or attempts that you can prevent just by just taking a little bit more caution to seeing things and getting excited, isn't it? You know.
I'll tell you what, Alice, I appreciate you and what you were saying just now, but yeah, for folks like myself who aren't in any type of IT, any type of computer field, I'm a car hauler, a truck driver. Been doing it for 26 years. This is what I do, and everything I do is either on a tablet or my phone. No laptop, no PC, none of that. And I've been in it for quite a few years doing it like this. So for everybody else that's out here like myself, that's not at home, don't go home every day, out here on the road, working all over God's creation, I would say just don't do it. Because as far from here on out, you don't have to worry about me clicking on any links. At first, back when the thing was 2018, and Novamind got me. A couple of years ago, Celsius got me. There's no more after that. Yeah, first time, shame on you. Second time, shame on me. Ain't no more third time.
Yeah,
Much
no,
respect to you, man, by the way. I just want to say thanks for what you do. We appreciate our truck drivers. I'm actually a full-time electrician, and I help run STX London after work. So, yeah, man, I appreciate you.
yeah, definitely, man. I mean, I definitely feel that, man. I think that personally, like, once for me, the way I look at it is that the more and more kind of like like the more and more people use everything, right, and the more and more this stuff comes in. Like, this is something that I say to my missus, right, for instance, like, she doesn't use computers like me or anything like that, but at the same time, like, what I think that the trade-off is that a lot of people don't realize that they make with computers, because everything looks so easy, right? Let's say like 20 years ago, it would be a lot harder to do even some of the basic stuff that we do on the internet now, right? So, like, I think that it's very often easy to kind of look at the internet or computers and think, hey, computers kind of do everything, and expect it to be an in and out process where you're just literally throwing in a set of instructions, almost like a chat GPT, that you're throwing in a set of instructions and the computer just does whatever you want it to do. But I often, like, as I said, say this to my missus, is that, like, when it comes to, like, let's say setting up a crypto wallet, for instance, right? Yeah, I will say to her, like, and this has been proven kind of lots of times, is that it is quicker for somebody to learn how to set up a Bitcoin wallet than it's quicker for somebody to onboard to a bank. Yeah. But people don't realize, because they're so used to going through the process of onboarding onto a bank, that they to believe that because they need to learn a little bit extra more than, let's say, about Bitcoin, well, let's say, hey, I need to learn what a private key is or a public key, right? Then they consider it to be a longer process, when really and truthfully the process is simple, isn't it, really, to generate a Bitcoin wallet? You go to, like, bitcoin.org, or go to anywhere where there's a wallet provider. Yeah, you download the wallet, you install it, or if you're on your phone, you download the wallet, you open it, you click create wallet, you save the seed phrase, and that's pretty much it, done. If you're doing a bank account, you're going to have to go to the website, check out how the bank account operates, whether it's got all the features that you need. Then you need to sign up by giving all of your details, KYC, all of this other stuff, right, over the top. So you're already 5 minutes deep, whilst, I could have set up like 20 Bitcoin wallets in that space of time, right? So fundamentally, what I'm saying is, people, I think, once they now have, we have smartphones, we have computers in our hands. So I think people feel is that once they've tapped the internet, or they've picked up, like, let's say, stuff in the tech field, that it's just, yes, I can click this and that equals that, and that there's no other precautions that they outside of, like, this equals that, when in every other type of field, like, again, saying, for instance, like, using your career for as driving or trucking. I've done a lot of delivery, like, work as well, and driving work, right? So, like, again, checking, like, like, manifesto, yeah, your miles, yeah, right, stuff like that. You're not going to skip that stuff all of a sudden when you come into work. Do you understand? Or if I'm a brand new trucker, I skip that stuff. I still have to learn it. I still have to make a note, on the tachometer and all the rest of it. So, in the end of the day, I think that when it comes to IT, as I said, people have got so used to having a computer just where they click a button and it does what they expect, that they feel that self-custody works in the same way. When with self-custody, you have to be very diligent about your use of the computer. And I think we're at the dissection of what we have previously, such as cash, money, like the fiat monetary system, and where this technology, that's literally the line where it crosses over. You don't no, it's no longer, hey, you type into a computer, it does what you want, and then you call somebody up when there's a problem. It's like, hey, you type into a computer, it does what you want, but you better know what you're typing, you better know what you're clicking, yeah, right, and like, it's your basically if something goes wrong, like, so I think that again, I'm not saying that this is your particular case, but I'm saying that this is, I think, part of the problem with people onboarding into the space that are savvy enough to, let's say, use the technology. It takes a while to get over the thing of, I have to do this. This is a standard thing. Like, and yeah, that's all I would say, innit? Right? But personally, that's how I'd look at it.
Yeah, I totally agree, especially when you first come into this space, into crypto. Yeah, there is a learning curve that you're going to go through the first year as a newbie.
And depending on how deep you dive into it, it can be a huge learning too, I've noticed. I mean, some people first year in stacks already know clarity, writing contracts and everything that I still don't know code myself. So
As well, it is really about, and I think that's obviously one of the biggest things that is, you know, that there is with adoption, is that, and why it takes place, so it's going to take place over time, because, as we often say in the space, the UI, the UX isn't great. You still have to, let's say, jump through a lot of hoops to be able to do things properly. Again, like, if you think about the trade-off that I just kind of said, you open a bank account, then you can do everything easier after you open the bank account. You open a crypto wallet, you can do everything easier at the beginning, but it becomes harder to actually manage all of because you're now managing all of what the bank would normally manage back end. And maybe, yeah, that's what you pay for when using a bank. But, you also give up, like, let's say, your inalienable rights to the property or the assets that you own within that, agreement also. So yeah, of course, it's going to be more work for you to manage. You're not giving up, like, again, that inalienable rights to your assets or your property at that point.
Yeah, tenfold. Copy that.
So, what other types of popular scams have you guys seen anyway? Because there's, like, so many different types of crazy stuff going on in crypto, especially right now.
I mean, I wouldn't say so much of a scam, but one of the ones I really remember when we talk about scams in crypto is Bacchus rugging the whole turtles community.
You know what I did see back in a couple of years ago, when everyone was in alt space in VR. Some people were lying about NFT kind of sell. So everyone was saying they had these NFTs, that there was an NFT drop, and people were giving their wallet, and this guy just ripped off a whole heap of people, and because they pretended they knew what they were doing, but they didn't. So he'd even gone as far as to set up a fake yacht, and all these people would piled into the shop. There were shit drinks. They were expecting to see, like, works of art on a projector screen and all this stuff. And guess what? Nothing. They were left on this boat, shit drinks, and they just sorry about the background noise, but they were left with crap drinks, and they got raided, and they lost a whole heap of Bitcoin.
Oh wow, that's crazy. Fluid, Hero, Tripping Monkey. Any of you guys want to come up? Hero's like, nah.
Hello, Nate. Hi. Hi. Hi,
Yeah,
Conrad.
yeah, Shannon, what's up, man?
Good day. How are you guys? Good day. Hey, hi,
Oh,
Lolis.
oh,
Easy.
pretty good. You know, just being
Hello. Hi.
mindful about security and keeping community safe. That is why STX London is stepping away from Discord altogether for the most part. We're slowly there, getting there, just trying to work on onboarding the rest of our community into console. We're gonna give it probably a couple more weeks before we just delete the Stacks London Discord. We have Telegram and console, and we think
Yeah, I
without
also like to
Discord, we just keep
I
our
also
community a little bit safer.
I was,
share
I was
something.
gonna
Yeah.
say, yeah. Also, yeah, like in 2017, right? Like these kind of rugs here that we see now, like they were a lot more rampant in the way that like scammers were going for like everything in it. They were going for everything. So they still do obviously now, but you know, in 2017, you know, there was projects that was doing like ICO rugs. Yeah. So it's like, hey, you know, you'd go, you sign up, you connect your wallet for the ICO, you buy into the ICO or whatever, and then obviously the project wouldn't launch or whatever, so they stole your money once, and then they would come back later, you know, and just drain your wallet in it, right? So like, you know, they get double the money out of you. And that was
Yeah.
crazy time.
BP20. So normal token scams. Yeah. ICO scams. Yeah. For this, yeah, revoke.cash is like the best website to check your wallets and yeah, safe. Nate, like we were also for the Stacks hackathon in the Bitcoin Unleashed. Yeah. It was organized by Easy. We were also building something like that, the Clarity scan to prevent the hacks, to check the smart contract scan. But same for the Clarity language. But yeah, it was a good project. Yeah, these things, scams and all these things are like gonna happen a lot in these days. Yeah, because of the bulls and things.
Yeah, sorry guys, I was just in the shop. But yeah, look, I mean, as we were just saying before as well, like it's not that these scams. I tell you what, right? I think as well, one of the things that is an important distinction is how these scams can happen and kind of like where. So again, as I said at the beginning, hold on, this type of actual in the way that these guys again have been operating with the discords or whatever, right? This type of actual scam wouldn't work with Clarity. So again, if the person tried to do the same scam and said, you know, in let's say the Welsh Discord, they were saying, hey, well, you know, sign this Clarity contract or whatever, so on and so forth. Then you know the message that will come up will be very clear that it's a scam in it, basically. Yeah, but in the way that it's done with how they actually did it, the way that that contract calls more contracts, as I said, that cannot actually be done with Clarity. So if they were trying to do the same scam using just STX alone, it's not possible, isn't it?
Okay, yeah. I mean, like
By the
Clarity
way, if you
doesn't
guys
give the entry to the
aren't
re-entry option. Yeah,
if
the
you guys aren't
entrance.
already in our console, I put the link up there at the top. Is you guys won't be receiving any more Discord invites from us. So
Yeah, sorry, just on my way back in the house, I see Braden tripping down there. Surprised they're not coming up. Brad, what's going down, man?
and for those of you guys who may have missed it earlier, we did talk a little bit about what we are doing going forward. There will be like there has been every Monday there will be a space hosted at 5 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. GMT, right here on STX London. With alternate Mondays, we'll have a STX and Chill space. With this Monday being the STX and Chill, and like next week, alternating, there's going to be a music and poetry space with our very own Nat Nye, the lyrical alchemist. He puts on a really good space and talks a lot about music, poetry, and art in general. And it's honestly, it's one of my favorite spaces. I love hopping in there and talking with him. So there's that.
Yeah,
We are going to
we're
be more educational content and onboarding content that's going to be going up on YouTube. I know Atlas has a few things he's going to start running for educational onboarding as well. We just want to bring more value to our community overall. So we want to keep you guys engaged.
Yeah, and for those who don't know yet, Shantanu there is definitely become part of the community builders, and he'll be heading up some of the forthcoming meetups, sorry, that we'll be having it for the in-person developer community. So yeah.
Yeah, in the mid-February, we're gonna have some of the we have some of the events in some of the universities around here. So in the University of East London, so we're gonna conduct one of the first meetup, let's say, trying to build a staff community around from different universities. So, most of them are the developer communities and also some other people who are in crypto, so introducing to me the stacks and other things in the Bitcoin. They are all new to the ordinals and Bitcoin, so the core education of the Bitcoin is still lacking. So that's what we are trying to do through the stacks and education program.
That being said, like while we're here, has anybody checked out like inscriptions? Is anybody doing stuff with Bitcoin ordinals, inscriptions, BRCs, 20s? What do you guys think about all of that stuff? Nobody got any ordinals, no? Nobody ain't got no BRC 20, no STX 20, no bit stamps, no STX
Yeah,
max.
Trippin,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
see
yeah, a little bit of
Trippin in a
everything.
lot
You
in
know
the
what I'm
space,
saying?
the ordinals.
I degen out when I have time. I got a little bit of everything.
I've
Yeah,
seen
I already
Trippin
know
a
that.
lot in the space, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
Trippin, can you share your something insights on the ordinals and the stats? I've seen a lot in the ordinals community, yeah. It's active in the
yeah, I jumped in a little bit of all of them just because of it's an ecosystem. I'm not really big on them, but yeah, I picked up a few just because. Rather be safe than sorry, right?
For real, 100%, man. Especially if you can mint freaking some stacks 20 tokens out for cheap, and it's just fun to play with. I know I inscribed some myself. I minted some, and I don't know, if it goes somewhere, it goes somewhere. You know what I'm saying? If it doesn't, it was still at least fun, interesting to play with.
Yeah, I think people are waiting for marketplace for the stacks inscriptions at the moment as well. So I think that's like a hot topic I've seen around.
a lot of hype around, yeah, stacks 20. Yesterday, after some of the tokens named Pi, like it popped out from somewhere and like hit the market cap of like 2 million or something, yeah, overnight. Like, the people are like buying, like they don't know what they're buying, they're just buying and buying.
I think in people's eyes, though, something big happens. They know if they're early in and it's still a thing, all they think about is price go up, really. A lot of people. If it's big, if it's hitting hard and you can still be early, everyone's kind of in that price go up mindset.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if I can find this tweet because I'm sure that they put out a tweet yesterday, which or was it the day before, maybe that showed like let's say like the top current tokens, and it seems to me that like your tokens are still like popping out of the blue and just going off. So yeah, I mean it's all good and fun to take part in, for a bit of fun, like you said, and to just maybe just see where it goes. But yeah, I think sometimes it can get really distracting. Dealing with things such as like meme token, etc., etc. Yeah, like sometimes I think there's a time for fun and there's a time for that narrative in it. Like, that stick to whatever it is that is kind of like the build stuff or the utility based stuff. But it is fun to have a bit of degen time out with, just like a few fun little projects.
Yeah, for real. So I think that's another reason, like it's that price go up mindset that also gets people kind of scammed. I think that's kind of what was in everyone's head. Welsh airdrop is, well, it's a free airdrop, price will go up, like more off of it than what I paid into it, sort of thing. And so they got a lot of people who are kind of just rushing to get the airdrop in, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know 100%.
No offense, I'm trying not to laugh right now. I'm sorry, man. That is shitty.
You good, bro? You good?
That is shitty. But yeah, that's probably what went through your head though, right? His price go up, essentially.
Yeah, it almost like I was just talking about a while ago. You see, for like I said, I've been in this and following Stacks and Manee for a long time. I was following Manee back when I was actually one of the first beta testers for Celsius. And so I've been watching him
Oh
and
wow.
watching what he was growing for a long time. And so yeah, that's when I jumped in it. And then I've been on Mark for about 2 years trying to get in, make the mobile for leather. And he never did, for a while. It's about to come out, but yeah. And so when I missed out on what's it, Ordy, because I couldn't get it through the mobile because you had to have Unisat, and that Unisat you had to have leather, or you had to have a actual PC to download everything to Google Chrome. So I missed all of that, and so even though I missed it, because I'm a Stacks person, a Stacks Eco person, I still promote anything that's come out on our ecosystem. It doesn't matter if I'm able to be a part of it or not. I still promote it. And so when this came out, like you said, I didn't want to miss it since I had access to it, and it got me.
So
Yeah, man, I feel that.
is that how people get had because they don't want to miss out, so then they click the link? Is that what happens? Like people don't want to miss out, so instead of them kind of doing your own research, looking just a little bit more, even speaking to other people before you hit the link. People are hitting the link thinking, yeah, I'm in there early, and then the scam starts to rinse your wallet. Is that what happens?
Yeah,
That's it,
yeah,
bro.
basically.
FOMO, bro. FOMO, straight
It's
FOMO.
yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah, it's not doing your own research beforehand. It's like the exact opposite.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I'm like, because the thing is, what makes me laugh is that obviously everyone's doesn't want to say they're naive, so they go out and get a wallet, and they don't know what it entails. Like basic example, I got a Coinbase wallet, I got a MetaMask wallet, and then every single time I try to enter the secret password keywords, it's saying it's wrong. So I'm like, well, hold on a second. I wrote this all down. I was very particular when I wrote it all down. Like I wrote it down on a piece of paper. I got a little booklet. I got a little booklet that's got my pass keys in there. So I'm cool. And I'm like, well, this is the MetaMask one. So I'm like, all right, then do that. Wallet is now null and void because someone's trying to say to me, oh, I'm going to give you some money or I'm going to give you some coin. I'm like, well, yeah, but I needed to get a MetaMask wallet just to see about and understand it. So I'm like, is that where people get caught out now because they think they know all about the wallet and they clearly do not? And then someone sends you a link and says,
Right.
yeah, I can get a
And
drop. But oh yeah, I'm on it. And then you don't.
right, yeah, exactly. It's a mix of everything, to be honest. It's not hard to really fool people, to be honest. Everyone, I'm not saying like people are naive, but it's honestly, it's certain like things that people jump at. And it's, I'm looking for the right term, but people can't be gullible, I guess. Yeah. And, like everyone, I don't care who you are, everyone, even in this room, has probably at one point or time, probably more than once, clicked a bad link before like really actually learning, you know? Especially in like the like when you first start getting into like computers and like everything, you it happens to everyone. Everyone's clicked a bad link. I know I
Ah,
have.
okay. Because
So I
there's I don't know if you guys have been there, but there's so I'm coming from the VR world. So there's a platform called Decentraland, and Decentraland you can't go into Decentraland unless you connect it to your wallet. So there's people like go buy this, buy that, buy this, buy that. So that in itself is kind of getting my foot in the door from the VR side of it, but it's not too technical, but it was because at first you couldn't get into this website unless you had a digital wallet. And then people were like, well, what is that? I don't get it. I just want to play around my
yeah,
avatar and then sell some merch. But it's like, no, there's a bigger picture here, what Decentraland are trying to do. So I'm like, okay, like that made me think again about this whole digital wallet thing. And like I said, I'm still naive, so I'm not doing much with my wallet. My wallet's cool, but I'm not making a transaction. So I'm just like, okay, this is why I come to these groups, and that's why I speak with Nat, is like to really understand it. Because if I want to tell my family and friends to come on Stacks and or artists I know that are musicians to come on this platform, I've got to know what I'm talking about before I can even say to them, because they're going to come back to me if it goes slightly left. And I'm saying, well, do your own research as well as what I'm telling you. And if anything is normally a bit sus, it's normally suspect, but you could kind of, does that make sense? So
yeah.
that's why I'm kind of not so naive and going, oh yeah, because like I said, when I was on VR, there were people every couple of weeks saying I've got NFT drop and it's going to be as big as Bored Ape, and I'm like, guys, this is BS. This is total BS. I'm not falling for this for 1 sec. Like I'm just not. And they're like, why? I'm like, come on, guys, man, it's almost too good to be true. And we don't know who these people are. So let's do some research. And if it's legit, then let's go and do it. But if it's not legit, then we just leave it well alone. And that's the way I've kind of always been. So running into you guys and this whole the stats community is great, because I'm like, okay, there are trusted sources out there. You can say, all right, cool, I trust stats. Like it's cool. Like this is what we do. This is the community. Like even the whole thing about Discord thing, I'm like, Discord kind of gets on my nerves. But when you said that, I'm like, oh my god. So Discord are not really looking after their client, so to speak. So what is that? That's kind of scary as well.
So I got a story that actually happened this week as well. Not to me, but to a friend. I was telling Nat about it. And I had this friend, she's a model I work with. We're really good friends. I've been trying to, get her more involved in the Stacks community. But so I was talking to her the night before about like just being conscious when you're online, using certain usernames, passwords, etc. She's like, all right. And the next day, she hits me up. She says, I got a bunch of free Bitcoin. I'm like, what? Because she sent me a link, and it was a link to a TikTok, right? And it was expired by the time I even clicked it to see what she was talking about because I was at work. She's like, but the Bitcoin thing actually worked. I said, wait, what Bitcoin thing? She says, the TikTok video I sent you. She says, I did it and got the Bitcoin. Says it's worth about 8,000 US dollars. I said, you've been scammed. She says, well, a scam usually asks for credit card information, something like that. And then never put anything in besides email and password, and all that stuff. I literally like just face palmed at work. And I'm like, how?
Oh my god.
I'm like, remember that video we watched about internet security yesterday? And then we had that conversation. I said, you literally just pulled the exact opposite. So, I mean, at least it's just people hear free money and they're they're more willing to take risks unless you have more of a somewhat higher knowledge about security and scams and all of that. So I I didn't really know what to tell her in that situation because even though I told her she was scammed, she said no, she wasn't. She got $8,000 worth of Bitcoin. So I just left it alone. Um, but yeah,
So did she receive the £8,000 or not?
As far as I know, no.
Oh my
I
gosh.
don't know. She hasn't really like. I know that they're probably using the password and email that she gave them probably to get into whatever they can, but I don't think she's receiving that Bitcoin, and I'm not sure she understands that there's still an ongoing security risk at this point.
But the mad irony is that you had the talk the day before. That's the crazy part.
We talked the day before and that day after it happened, so we've talked about it a couple times now, and I'm just like, all right, hope she changes her passwords on everything. Anyone that have anything they want to chime in with at the moment? Because we are about hitting that hour mark. We can keep going. We can wrap it up. It's up to you guys. I'm free for a bit still.
Free either way. Like if you're wrapping up, cool. If you're not, then cool.
Yo, Brad, what's up?
How's it going, guys?
Pretty good. How have you been?
That's fine, fine. Hey, I might chime in a little bit because you guys are talking about security a little bit, and I'm kind of wondering, like, what do you guys use? I mean, I know you guys are into more than just Bitcoin, so do you use, like a hardware wallet for everything, or
Honestly, I literally am only using Bitcoin wallets or Stacks wallets. So,
is that on Windows?
um, I don't have a Ledger wallet yet. I'm like still waiting for Rider to finally release. I was an early supporter of Rider, so I was really hoping that would pan out.
Rider's like totally advanced. But I'm just saying, like, I'm sure you're probably the only one who's using Rider if any of these other guys are. But
No, I don't have it yet. I'm waiting for them to still
yeah,
like finish up with the
you
product.
have been using regular wallets, but on what, on Windows?
Yeah, right. Not on Windows. Right now, I'm using Brave.
Okay, well, Brave browser on Windows, though, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Probably even just if you're not a developer, maybe the vast minority is using Linux and everybody else is using Windows. And it was interesting to me because I recently, like I bought one of the Ledger wallets and I never used it. Like I think I tried using it the first time and then I just got frustrated with it because, and I'm a technical guy. I just thought the user interface with those tiny buttons and the tiny screen just sucked ass. And I was like, I'm not using this. This is crap. you know, but, um, but then time passed and I'm like, hey, and I really need to upgrade the security I'm using for my wallets. Cause I mean, even though I'm using Linux and in the past, I did some things like I created like a bootable Linux that boots off of a USB drive and then just put my wallets on that as a way to lessen the risk of getting hacked. Like, that malware, it's a lot less likely that there's malware going to be on that USB drive, but still possible, right? So because you're still booting up the same OS every time connected to the internet. And so I was always kind of like thinking, yeah, there's got to be a better way. Um, and maybe it's a little bit difficult for me to explain if everyone is not using Linux and just using Windows. But then I think this method that I found can also Windows if you go to the trouble of creating a couple of things, which I can explain if somebody wants. But these are zero cost ways, I think, of improving the security of your wallets. And it basically hinges around creating bootable versions of operating systems on a USB drive. And there's ways of doing that with Windows as well. I'm not a huge Windows user, but I know there is. like there's one application called Win to USB, WIN to USB, and it's a way of creating USB Windows USB boot drive. That's better than nothing, and it's better than using your daily driver windows for putting in your wallet, right? But then there are other ways to go even one step further than that, I think. I know with Linux, I'm already doing it with Linux, but with Windows, I think I have to experiment to try it out. And that's basically, there's a program called Ventoy, VENTOY, and it's for booting up operating systems from an ISO file. And if you don't know what an ISO file is, it's basically like a single file that is it came from the old CD-ROM, DVD drive days. It was a way of creating a single file that was basically the contents of a DVD drive, right? So you could put an entire operating system on an ISO file that, maybe it's like a 3 or 4 gigabyte file. You can, all the operating systems are distributed with ISO files now. So if it's Windows or Linux, they come in an ISO file that you basically burn onto a USB drive to create your installation drive, right? But anyway, so this Ventoy product can, basically what it does is you put that onto your USB drive, and then you can copy any ISO files of any operating systems, Windows 10, Windows 11, Linux, Mint, Ubuntu, whatever. Put those ISO files on that USB drive, and then it'll boot up, and you can choose just with a simple menu, which ISO file do you want to start up. So you can boot up a fresh copy of Linux, Linux Mint or Ubuntu. And if you create a bootable Windows ISO, you could do the same thing, right? The trick on the Windows side, which I haven't done yet, but because again, I'm not a big Windows user, is, how do you basically, after you create a bootable Windows USB, is then how do you convert that into an ISO file, right? And I think there's ways to do that. You just basically burn a USB drive into one single ISO file. And once you've done that, and you have, your fresh copy of Windows in an ISO file, then you can use Ventoy to boot that up every time. And here's where I'm going with this. If you have this ability to boot up an operating system that's pristine, you're guaranteed 100% there's no viruses or malware in that operating system that you're booting. And any browser that that either already is included in that distribution, in that operating system, is guaranteed not to have any spyware or viruses in it too, right? So basically, so like what I did was I said, okay, I use Ventoy, I boot up my Linux, and then I install, and in one partition on the USB drive, I put all of my installable files, like the Leather Wallet installation file, the what's it called? What's the main Windows wallet? I forgot the name. You guys probably know. What's the most popular wallet for multi coins? It's X something, right? Not Excalibur. You guys, come on, Atlas, you know this. What's the main wallet? The number one.
Not Electrum.
What's that?
Electrum.
Electrum is big on Bitcoin only, but for all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But for altcoin.
And it's called X something.
Yeah, anyway. I got.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Yeah, I got it on my phone right here. Let me just look it up real quick. I brain faded on the name. Let's see. It's Exodus. Yeah. So
yeah, Exodus. Yeah, Electrum kept popping into my head. I know which one you're talking about.
Exodus. Yeah. So like I put the Exodus installation file. I put the extracted version of the Leather Wallet for Firefox on that partition. So basically, one partition has the Ventoy with all the operating systems that that I can choose to boot up, and then I have on the other partition all of the wallets that are ready to install. And I check the hash files to make sure that those that I downloaded are not corrupted, right? So, bottom line is what happens then is I boot up the operating system, I install Leather, I create a new wallet, I copy down my seed phrase file, right? And then I compress the seed phrase file into a password protected zip file using 7Z format, which is the higher quality of encryption. And so all that is done on this without being connected to the internet. And then that's saved away. You're guaranteed not to be spied. There's only one slight way that somebody could then hack you, right? It's if they have, access through your Wi-Fi router somehow, because all the software that you're using is fresh, right? So anyway, then after that, you can, you write down your deposit addresses and all that kind of stuff, and then you can always, deposit to it using your regular C or whatever. But the main thing is that you're completely protected, your seed phrase, your guarantee. And then every time you want to do something, like if you want to make a big trade or something, yeah, you have to go reactivate that leather wallet using your seed phrase, right? But again, you're booted up on this special version of the operating system that's guaranteed to be fresh. So it is a bit of a, kind of like time, a little bit more time consuming. But if you're talking about a lot of money, it's pretty safe. The strategy is pretty safe, and it costs zero, right? And the other thing is that you're not depending on some company that built a special hardware wallet, right? If you lose your ledger, your whatever, yes, you can buy another one, and if you have your seed phrase, you're still good to go. But you're still depending on that company. And then there's other stuff you got to look out for, like, did somebody send you in the mail, a corrupted or a what do you call it? Like a hardware wallet where they already have the information. I think that's
Oh, that was crazy. Oh, Brad, listen, you see when ledgers first come out, that was crazy shit. People were buying ledgers on eBay, and it's like, oh my fucking god! Like, people were literally like texting me saying, "Hey, you can get a ledger for much cheaper on eBay." And I was like, "Who the fuck would buy a ledger on eBay?" Like, it's just crazy shit, man.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this. You're right, because when the Legends came out, I went and bought 2 of them, hooked it up once, put my Stellar Lumens on there. Last time I used it, the other one's still in my truck. Never touched it again. I'm waiting on the rider. As far as Floyd, I appreciate everything you just said for the last 15 minutes, because I've been over here just laughing, not understanding anything you're saying. But if you ever come up with a wallet, I'll be your first customer. I promise.
Yeah, see, I'm not as technical either, man. So I feel you on that one.
Yeah, I just think it's kind of sad that, like, all it would take is somebody halfway technical like myself to create a video, kind of a DIY, like, here's how you can do this. Here's how anyone can, for zero cost, right, with just like downloadable open source software, create a system that is pretty damn bulletproof. Like I said, as far as I can see, the only major, like, not even major, the only small potential flaw in this is that you still have to have your router connected. You know what I mean? It's not completely offline. Like, that's the thing that the hardware wallets are doing for you, right? It's something that is never online, and so that's the security of a hardware wallet, is that it's something that never ever is online, and so that, in theory, nobody could ever get your seed phrase because it's never touched the internet, right? And the thing that the system that I was just describing is kind of like 99% there, right? But it's not using any special hardware. You don't have to learn how to use it. It's just using all the same stuff that you already use, like Windows or Linux, plus your leather wallet. So that's the other thing, is that the system that I described would work for any wallet. You can use any wallet you want, right? Because the main thing that it's doing for you is it's just isolating that you're not using your everyday device, your phone or your everyday, notebook, to put your wallets on. That's if you get away from those 2 things, or that one thing, your daily driver devices, you lessen your chances of getting hacked, and greatly, right? So, and again, so it would just take, like, somebody to create a video on how to do this, and I think anybody could do it. It's not.
You just need an infographic or fluid. Guys, why don't we do a podcast that just tells people about the pitfalls, like so people are then a bit more aware. Because what you just did, fluid, you just gave me like so many gems of what not to do and what to try and do. So I'm like, right now I've got to go away and do some more research. But what you're saying is like it's almost like crypto for dummies, you know, where you've got a book or a little video or even a podcast where you're just talking about the basics and how to get your head around all this jargon and difficult talk. I think that's maybe what is really needed, because I think Food, you gave some great insight and great answers. And for me, who's kind of, I'm still consider myself to be a bit of a noob. It's like, okay, what you're saying makes sense to me, but there were some technical terms I didn't obviously understand. But I'm just like, well, that would make sense. Get yourself away from your phone, have a hard wallet. Then you can still be scammed. You've got to be pretty dumb to get scammed
Yeah,
that way.
I'll give you an example. I have a German friend of mine. He's not technical, very technical. I mean, he's just a Windows user, and I recently showed him how to use Linux Mint. Linux Mint is a version of Linux that is very Windows-like. Like it uses the same sort of windowing system. It's very easy for people who are used to Windows to use Linux, right? And so I showed him how to use that, and then after that, I showed him how to create. There's a program called Oracle VirtualBox, which allows you to create what's called a virtual machine. And what a virtual machine is, it's like to have another copy of Windows that's inside of your Windows. It's for some, until you see it. If you've never used a virtual operating system before, it seems kind of like, wow, what the hell is this? This sounds complicated and blah blah blah. But it's it's kind of like if you open up like the application in Windows, it's in a window, right? So imagine having inside of a window, you have another copy of Windows, right? So that's what a virtual machine is, but it's an isolated version of Windows. So basically what I did is I just showed him how to create a virtual machine, a virtual version of Windows inside his Windows notebook. And in doing that, he's got a fresh copy of Windows, and then he installed, I showed him, okay, you can install your Leather wallet in this virtual machine, in this virtual copy of Windows. And it's much, much less likely that you're going to get hacked in that virtual machine, because it's an isolated version of Windows, right? It's still possible if somebody got it, basically hacked your notebook's main, host operating system, copy of Windows 10 or Windows 11, and they knew what they were doing, they could still get at your virtual machines, but this VirtualBox thing. But anyway, so the point I'm getting at is, like, I showed him how to do this stuff, and now he uses his Leather wallets inside of a virtual machine, inside of this secondary copy of Windows. Actually, what he does is he installed the Linux Mint virtual operating system inside his Windows. So, and then he installs his Leather wallets in that copy of Linux. So it's much more secure, and it costs him nothing. And now he just does it like every day. It's like easy for him, and he's not a technical guy, right?
But you know what, Fluid, I did hear that if you watch the TikTok video, you can get 8 grand. Just joking. Sorry, I just want to say that. Sorry.
Hey, you know what? The funniest thing is, sorry, but before you came in, this is literally something that I was saying. Is like, we've moved so fast in computing technology, and I would even say we've moved fast, to be honest. But I just think that computers are in everybody's hands right now. There's the average person, grannies, whatever, to use, to a basic standard, like a very powerful computer in comparison to, computing over the last 20 or 30 years, right? So, it's kind of like, it's really weird, yeah, because in the UK, they introduced this thing in 2020, like just after the pandemic. They introduced this standard in schools called the T levels, and the T levels basically is you learning about computers. Like, you have to learn before you leave school. You have to learn like a certain amount about computing and how to use a computer, basically, right? Now, in my mind, that should have, like, been here 30 years ago, bro. Like, I should have said to you, like, that should have been here 30 years ago, right? And the thing is, it's kind of like, again, back to alluding to what I was saying earlier, because people have got access to this technology, they are finding these things, or these things are put to them whilst they're using this technology, but they haven't even done like the basic due diligence of how to even use the technology that they're using. So it's like, it's like you're driving a car like without, doing a driving test, or nobody telling you how to operate a car. You put your foot to the metal, you floor it and crash it. Like, that's what I say to you, or you just don't drive properly. Like, and that's literally kind of like what is happening right now with crypto. Is people have got all of this technology that over the past 20-25 years they haven't even learned the basics of it yet. They've just literally, hey, I can turn on the computer, I can go into Windows, I can send an email, because my work or whatever has told me how to use this database, so I can use this particular Oracle software or my workplace use. But I can't, I don't understand how the rest of it works. And obviously, to people that are into computers, or technical or semi-technical people, yeah, we pretty much know like a lot of these kind of things, like what you're saying about VMs, right? Like, I'll tell you for how many years, like, like I've used VMs, like, and how long VMs have been around, and how kind of really common they are, especially after the peer-to-peer era of like LimeWire and everything else, right? Yeah, a lot of people that I know that use computers, even, they went through that LimeWire era, that Kazaa, and all of that stuff, using all of that stuff, Napster, whatever else. But they again, like, they still wouldn't be able to tell you how to do, let's say, like, just set up a VM, and for me, knowing how to set up a VM should have came before you used LimeWire. So yeah.
But I think your metaphor is perfect. It's kind of like manual and automatic. Like, people have fallen into this automatic thing of, as long as I can know what I'm doing on the surface, I don't really have to know what goes on behind the scenes, kind of thing. Or you're not researching it. You're just thinking that, yeah, it's cool. Everyone's doing it, so I'm going to do it because I don't want to feel left out. But there's a little bit more you need to do. That's the way I'm kind of seeing it.
The thing that kills me is when even, yeah, I guess we can understand if somebody's a real, noob, for lack of a better word, really new to crypto, that they do something silly or like keeping, $200,000 or more on like Binance, right? And not taking their tokens off of the exchanges. They just leave them on there all year. And hopefully I'm not insulting somebody in this space by saying that, but like, I won't say it's stupid. Let
That
me
was
just,
me for like my first 1 or 2 years in the crypto.
yeah, well, I mean, it's, I mean, I've had too much on an exchange as well. And, but just for not that I didn't know better. It's just like I was being lazy or something. And eventually I just said, hey, idiot, I'm talking to myself, get your shit off of the exchange. It's like, because it's easy to get lazy and complacent about this stuff. And, until something bad happens, and then, you lose a lot of money, and then you're just, depressed and ready to kick, your ass is sore from kicking yourself in the ass so many times. So, that's the reason why you need to learn about this kind of stuff. And
Hold on, guys. Cause yeah, I see. I'm gonna have to speak for folks like myself. All right, first, we in something totally different new, where hundreds of thousands of people are coming in right now. Some of them are like myself that are older. And the last time I was in school and was learning about the computers, the last thing that I remember was Control Alt Delete, and that's the last thing that I remember. And we talking about back in the early '80s. So yeah. So as far as platforms like this and meets like this, where we talking about it, this is what we need. And as far as fluid, what you were talking about doing, yes, that's excellent. But for law, you understand what he was talking about. I didn't. So as far as just having a voice thing out there, it's cool for people that know about it. But if you could actually put something on a video to where we could watch it, well, now you're talking about bringing thousands of more people on board and be able to follow you by watching.
yeah, that's what I was saying was, and there are videos out there that you can learn to do this kind of stuff from. But the problem is that it's not targeted specifically to crypto holders, right? I mean, you can get on, there's dozens, if not hundreds or thousands of videos on how how to use VirtualBox and create virtual machines and making, install Windows on it. And, but there isn't the A to Z guide video that says, okay, here's how you put, your Bitcoin wallet or your Stacks wallet, your Leather wallet, on a virtual machine or on a USB bootable copy of Windows, or Linux, right? So that's what's not there. It's the A to Z thing that makes it easier for people. But the first step again is, as I said, especially for people who are new to crypto, is just realizing that the dangers that you are in, if you keep a significant amount of money worth of tokens on a centralized exchange or potentially even decentralized exchanges, right? I mean, they're less risky, arguably, but because they're controlled by a smart contract and not some company that can, go under or get hacked or whatever, right? But just to realize that age-old saying, which Atlas and a lot of other guys know, not your keys, not your coins, right? That's a really old saying. And it's just that it's just saying that if you have your tokens, Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever it is, on an exchange, those tokens are not yours. You don't hold the keys that control those tokens, right? The exchange does. So it's not really yours. And if they go poof, then you have to hope that they somehow make good on it. Like I think Bitfinex got hacked for a couple $100 million, and they actually amazingly paid everybody back, which was incredible. Remember that, Atlas?
Like Celsius.
Well, Celsius didn't, right? But Bitfinex did.
Yeah, I think that's another thing that's important to kind of this as well, is that when you are using the things, right? Again, like you said, Brad, there's like almost kind of like layers to this community, to this sorry, not community, but there's layers to this this communication, sorry, that you're doing with any kind of application or anything that you're doing, right? There's layers to it. So I say that to say this, right? That there's still people that probably do their passwords as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or whatever, however many characters that the minimum that the website says, right?
So,
You know?
can I point something out right there? So this whole time Brad's been speaking, I've already got a lot of that like new like YouTube content planned out, and it's basically about Stacks education. Like I just did that first like downloading or setting up an Xverse wallet, right? I just finished that first video right before the space, and I'm getting ready to throw it up on our YouTube. And it and now you're saying now no one uses their password like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Literally, for the sake of the video, when I was setting up First Wallet, the password was Stacks London 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
But the thing is, but you see, that's what I'm saying. Like the actual, this is what I'm saying. Like common sense ain't common, right? All that common they say, right? Yeah, because you've done that in a video, bro. Like as an example, I know, most of the people in here are gonna know. All of us are gonna know. I'd say all of us in here would easily know, like that is just an example password, bro. Someone's gonna watch that video, bro, and they're gonna have that password, bro. It's gonna be like literally, like they'll share it to their friend and be like, "Hey, yeah, all you gotta do is just go here and just create a wallet with this password." Like,
Yeah,
like,
but
it wouldn't surprise me if it even got to a point like if you had a video that was highly watched like that, right? Like, let's say, like I'm sure this has happened with other wallets before, right? That people are probably literally in the comments saying, "Hey, yeah, I've created my wallet now with this same password that you said and deposited 5 BTC into it," like, or some shit in the comments, bro. Like, so, look, you can never underestimate people, bro. Sometimes, right? Like, the ability for again some people to just do some dumb shit. There's always going to be somebody who does some really, really dumb shit, right?
Like,
Yeah, you were talking about the layers, right? And
yeah,
layers of different levels of like security and stuff when it comes to crypto. The passwords is another interesting thing. Like it's another good example of there are different layers of sophistication when it comes to passwords too, right? Because there's applications like password managers is a group of is a type of application, right? There's a bunch of different products that are password managers. Password managers on Windows. I forget the names of some of the more popular ones, but you guys can look them up. They're on Linux. There are some that work on both Linux and Windows. And what they're designed to do is create passwords for you where the application securely, keeps track of the passwords that are given out on a per website basis or per application basis. You only have to remember one, which is the password that gets you into your password manager application. And then that application manages all the passwords for all of the other things that you use. And it assigns passwords that are much longer, much more sophisticated, impossible to remember yourself, right? And so harder for hackers to crack, much harder for them to crack if you're protecting a large amount of money. So this is the kind of thing that you know, people who run companies need to use, right, to make sure that their books or their main crypto wallets don't. It would be interesting. This just made me think. It would be interesting to know what kinds of things, like Stacks Foundation uses to protect their crypto and stuff like that. But for the most part, a lot of people don't want to talk about what is right because that itself is information that you don't want. It's sort of like a layer of protection is people not knowing what method you use, right?
or maybe give people a good choice then. If you don't want to tell them your password manager choice, does that make sense?
Yeah,
If you're
I
like
mean,
top five, let people choose from there. They're trusted top five. That
my thing is, yeah, right, is look, choosing a password manager, the key thing, the most key element of any password manager for me personally, right, is that it is an offline portable executable, right? Yeah, like, so when I say that, the application itself can run, yeah, without you having to install anything or to connect to the internet, right? If those two things are true of your password manager, it's even more secure than somebody with a very good password that has an online password manager. Like it is hundreds of times more secure just because it's an offline password manager. And if it's a portable, like a portable application, then that means any type of you hear somebody say like an application, you don't have to install it. You can run it off of a USB stick, like what Brad was saying earlier, right? So if you've got a portable version of an application, that means it doesn't live on any operating system. Even if somebody's hacked into that particular operating system, unless they've done something like added a keystroke logger to the actual system, they don't know what application you're opening, even if they have got a keystroke logger, because it's not installed, right? So there's no dependencies on the operating, apart from just having the operating system to view the actual program on. So you can just literally load the program, and if somebody had a keystroke logger, they'd be able to see that you've clicked a program and then that you've put in a series of characters, but they wouldn't have your key store file, yeah, right, which is where your actual files are stored, right, actual passwords are stored. So they wouldn't have your key store file. Even if they had the name of your key store file, even if they were screen recorded, yeah, that is a portable application. So they'd have to have actual remote control of the computer at the time of you doing all of this, logging into your password manager, for them to be able to even have a chance to steal your passwords. So
yeah,
again, those two things there, right, make a password manager more so than any other type of way to manage your passwords. And definitely do not save your fucking passwords or your credit card information or any personal information in your fucking browser. Don't do that shit. That's the last thing you should be doing.
yeah. But you mentioned something that made me think also. Even something as relatively well known to you and I, like a keylogger, right? Or to a lot of people who are pretty new to crypto or not so into to computers, they don't even know what a keylogger is, and so they don't realize that they need to protect from these kinds of things, right? So, I mean, maybe so Atlas, when you mention something like that in a broad space like this, you probably should explain what a keylogger is, and it's just one type of malware that could end up on your computer and ruin your life, basically.
100%.
I'll wait for
100%.
my rider to come in the mail.
So to break it down, like just real quickly, as you said that as well, because I was thinking that as I said it, but so a keylogger, yeah, is a type of malware that enables somebody to see what you're doing on your computer in terms of user is scrolling with mouse, dragging mouse, clicking on something, or type in things. The person can actually record what you're typing on the other end. So that you type in your credit card number, you know, for instance, it sells into a website or anywhere, you type it into Word, right? This other person with that access will be able to see everything that you're typing. So keyloggers are often used, yeah, right, with stuff like airport Wi-Fi, yeah, right? Those kind of attacks here, because people sit there, right? Like, you know, you can watch like again stuff on YouTube about this, right? But keyloggers will sit in ports, yeah, and wait for people to come along and use the Wi-Fi, right? Knowing that they've got a keylogger working on that network. So people will sit there in the airport, will do all types of transactions in the airport. You know, they're swapping, exchanging money, so on and so forth, right? They do all kinds of transactions. They do all kinds of logging into their email because they're on a new network. So every time they go on a new network, you know, Google's kicking them out. They have to log in again, blah, 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 blah. So they're on this public network that this person's on, scanning for, let's say, vulnerable computers, right? You know, like really, really like weak you know, connections, right? And this person could just literally just have this keylogger running and be reading like 20 computers, 30 computers, 100 computers that are on the Wi-Fi network. Like, I don't use public Wi-Fi. Like I'm big on rolling with my hotspot in it. Like, you know, I should have said to you, like, I don't like using, if I have to use public Wi-Fi, best believe I'm only using it because there is absolutely no reception in that area, and I will not enter any passwords. Like, I've never done it. Like, I don't enter passwords when I'm on any public Wi-Fi. If I can't get into that app, I'll wait till I go outside. Innit? Yeah, it's as simple as that. Or until I get into an area that, you know, I'm not on a public Wi-Fi. Yeah, right. So a lot of people will just go to the nightclub and be like, "Hey, you got Wi-Fi?" Or go to a crypto meetup. "Hey, you got Wi-Fi?" And then just start doing everything like on that Wi-Fi. Like I don't do that. I don't. And
Yeah, and from
if I do logins, yeah, right, I will do logins in a way. Sorry, Brad, just quickly. I'll do logins in a way where, again, because I'm rolling like portable password manager, like I'm gonna do a login that's a copy and paste. Now, another thing is, right, there's even keyloggers, yeah, that can read, copy and paste, like what you copied and pasted, yeah, right. But at least I know I'm taking it like that extra further, so I'm making it harder for, let's say, the average hacker to be able to access
yeah,
whatever I'm doing.
most of the keyloggers can be configured to take screen captures every like 10 seconds or 30 seconds also. So you don't have to type anything. You don't have to move your mouse. If you just show your seed phrase on your screen, the keylogger can take a snapshot of your screen and get your seed phrase that way, right? So these things are, and that's just what I know, and I'm not even sophisticated. Hackers, people who are into this, man, this stuff gets deep, and protecting yourself from it can get deep too. But like 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 we said here, you know, having a device that's never connected to the internet is one good way. You know, whether it's a hardware wallet or even if you just, you know, just go buy a junky old, you know, used computer for $50, you know, that runs like, you know, Windows 7 or something. As long as you can get a wallet installed on it, if it can install a wallet, just use that for your, you know, and never connect it to the internet. Just like disable the Wi-Fi on it, you know, and then it's just as good as a hardware wallet. Maybe even better because it's easier to use.
Hey, you know what you saying that, Brad, as well. The other day we were laughing about me and Shantanu. They were laughing about remember my Ether wallet, right? Yeah, like Ether wallet is like the perfect example of like you not. It's like you doing that same process. You know what I'm trying to say? You just being secure enough, yeah, to be able to kind of like have paper wallet as we used to, you know, paper wallet, right? Yeah, so you know, my Ether wallet is literally one of the best examples or early examples of that in crypto, because you didn't have to be on any particular device. Yeah, you didn't even have to be online to be able to check balances from my Ether wallet. Right? So you just need your seed phrase, or you know your you know, you can use your seed phrase or even your public key to be able to check balances. Like, that's another thing that people don't understand as well. Sorry, just as I said that, I just realized a lot of people don't understand that there's something in crypto like called watch only, yeah, right, where in which you can use, you know, your public key or use like any portable, again, application or any site to obviously just view a token balance, right, to see that there's, let's say, no suspicious activity going on in your bank account, right, let's say, if you could compare it to that. But my Ether wallet was like one of the first kind of ones that it was like, okay, you know, if you you could have the paper wallet version, you could use mnemonic, you could use the seed phrase, you could use a JSON file. There was like so many different ways that you could use it, and you could use it, as I said, like just like portable. So if you was somewhere, you know, wanting to check your thing over, you could have like a HTML file of my Ether wallet, which opens your JSON. So you would just literally click it, and it would open everything, and you'd be able to see your balances and everything, but you wouldn't be able to do transactions. Like, I'm saying that's still true now. You can do that, right? Like with lots of different applications. But yeah, I mean, like there's like so many, like you said, it's layers, bro. There's so many things, and the maddest thing about everything that we've just said, Brad, is if you go one step further than this, like where with in relation to Wi-Fi, right, is like packet sniffing, right? You know, like and that is like a whole nother world altogether. And there's, you know, for all of this stuff that we're talking about, guys, there is free software like that people can just download, learn how to use, and you know, be able to have, let's say, this level of insight into either your connection, or your computer. So, and I'm not going to mention like there's one particular like software that you can find like basically anywhere. Is banned in very many countries. Yeah, but you can download it from Mirror online. And when I say Mirrors, those are just different servers, right? That you can download this from. But you know, it's like a packet sniffer, right? And you could sit there and just like take packets all day long. Packets is like what you're sending when you're sending over the internet, like, and you know, eventually just like decrypt, you know, people's Wi-Fi, like and stuff like that, right? It's like, yeah, you know, and I say this come from the point that when I was working in VoIP communications, like you know, part of the route that led me kind of like to really be interested in Bitcoin was the fact that I was going into cybersecurity at the time. I was learning a lot more about cybersecurity. Like I know quite a bit about networking anyway. So so I was going into cybersecurity at the time, and when I saw like the amount of stuff that you can do, even in like VoIP, yeah, like which is voice over IP communications, right? A lot of people don't know that one of the biggest types of fraud in the world, right, is something called toll fraud, yeah, right? And it's like toll fraud like makes credit card fraud look like stupidness, because like toll fraud is literally like a way of being able to get into voice over IP communication networks. So like, you know, Skype, whatever it is, right? And charge people, yeah, like reverse charge people. So you could literally like jump into a network. Let's say, you know, I'm sure, you know, all of us have been in the office or had work phones or whatever in a building. So you could literally hack one phone in a building and then make every phone ring, yeah, right? And everyone will pick it up, and every single one of those calls will be reverse charged. And there will be some fucker somewhere in Romania that's got a premium rate number set up on 09 or some crazy premium rate number,
Hey,
right? It's charging like $10 a minute, right? So everybody in the
hey, Atlas,
workplace don't
but
understand
but
why yeah, yeah.
Atlas isn't VoIP like ancient history now? I mean, WhatsApp and Telegram
Yeah, because
all
we're using
basically destroyed.
because we're using a lot more of but when I say this, right, Brad, I'm thinking of it. This is more obviously stuff that is happening in the business world. Because in the free world, yeah, we're obviously using, you know, like let's say the consumer world. Yes, we use WhatsApp. Yes, we use FaceTime, so on and so forth, right? You know, and those streams can still be hacked to make your phone do certain things, right? Like, you know, they can still be hacked to make your phones do certain things. So, but in the business world, like, you know, these companies are still using VoIP in most, you know, big companies. They're not like, yeah,
Wow,
say, not
that that
everybody is
that's
using,
amazing.
yeah, I mean,
I
not
didn't,
everybody's
I didn't know that.
using WhatsApp to do group calls or meetings on Zoom or whatever else, you know, like a lot of people are still, you know, and then when you think about it, you've got to think about phone companies as well. So people that supply business lines to phone companies, right? All of these people are still using VoIP. So toll fraud, like I said, is like mad, bro. Like it's mad. When I was working in VoIP and it was like, hey, you could do this shit. Like call one, like there's this one guy, right? Like calls in, tells us that hey, he hasn't been receiving no calls in his call center all day long. There's something wrong with the phones. So I end up doing this whole trace, you know, trying to find out what's going on with the phone. I've logged into the phone. I'm trying to see what's going on. There's nothing wrong with the phone. I've logged into about 10 different phones. Yeah. Ain't nothing wrong with these phones. So I'm resetting these phones, logging in, you know, right? And then so I pass up to third line, and shit, this guy has got like some hacker in his network that's like just left him on a constant call. So what happened in the morning is all the phones rang in the call center at the same time, and someone's picked up the phone or whatever. Everybody's got to go pick up the phone, whatever. You know, everyone thought it was like a blip, right? So everyone's hung up the phone. Phones ain't rang for the rest of the day. This fucking Romanian hacker's done a reverse charge call on them, right? So they can't access any of their phones. They think the call center's not ringing. Hey, it's a bit strange, right? And all of this time, this guy's charging like £5 a minute, bro, for these calls, bro. Like, for these calls, and that's on every single phone in that call center. Has now got a different instance of the call. It's just been copied across the network to like every single instance of this phones, right? Crazy, isn't it, right? So this guy's like fucking 10, 15 grand in debt to my boss already, bro. Yeah, over the course of like 2-3 hours. You see what I'm saying? So it's crazy. It's crazy. Like the stuff that happens in the computer world is crazy, bro.
Yeah, and just wait, if there's more and more cars are connected to the internet now too, and so people are going to be hacking your car, and that's even more scary. Hacking your, while you're moving at whatever 70 miles an hour.
Yeah, don't even get me started on that one, bro. Because in London, like it's like driving's got really, really crazy in London, and I know Lawless can really attest to how the way we've made London. It's kind of like you're a rat in a trap driving around right about now with electric cars. I call it the conveyor belt, Brad. Yeah, that's what I call it in London, the conveyor belt. They want everybody on the conveyor belt going in this direction where they can see you. And basically, once you've got that with electric cars, it will be like, hey, stop the belt, remove this car. You know what I'm trying to say to you, right? Like, stop that car. That car's not going to where it needs to go. Like, we're pulling that car out of the lineup. And so yeah, I definitely believe that this will happen with electric cars. It's just a matter of time.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, police, like with certain what is that? What's that, like, really one, like Starlink, or not
On
Starlink, but
what's that?
it's
OnStar.
OnStar. Yeah. Police can literally have your car fucking shut off with that. If you got OnStar in your car and it's stolen, they can literally shut that down.
Yeah,
It's
that's
kind
facts,
of,
bro.
I mean, it's we've been there for a minute, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, so I think you saying that as well kind of like resets what we was all saying here, right? Is that we've been here for a minute, right? We've been here for a minute with technology. It's not yeah, okay, we've got crypto, we've got all of this other things that is going on, but we have literally where we are now in terms of how I look at the operation of computers. Yes, there is loads of great stuff that's happening, loads of innovation and invention and stuff like that, and new apps and the rest of it. But the way that I look at it, I'm still using a computer in the same way that I learned how to use a computer, 30 years ago, 30 plus years ago. So it's like, to me, it's what Brad was saying earlier on as well. It's that everyday common practice. It's like, we've all, as I said before, got these powerful now computers. People inscribe doom on a Satoshi, yeah, right, and whatever, yeah. Like when I was using a computer, how difficult it was to install Doom, and how many, there's like 3-4 discs. You had to change the disc, install part one, right? Install part one of Doom, and then install the other part of Doom. Like 4 discs in a box, right? So that's crazy. That we're all the way here. That somebody who's like inscribed Doom on a single Satoshi, and anyone anywhere in the world can just access Doom in their wallet or whatever, right? It's crazy, right? So what I'm saying is like I think that like just we people that are using technology over, let's say, in the last 10 years, that have become more accustomed to computers in the last 10 years. I don't think that they're looking at this from a view of hey, I need to learn something before I use this device. It is just literally like, hey, this device is a very basic device, but to us, we can see that advancement in it, like how far that device has come along, and it's still a very basic device to us. So it's an oxymoron, because it's really like they're looking at it like this is a basic device, but they're also looking at it like, hey, this device is really, really complicated. Let me not actually use it to its full potential. Yeah. Whereas people who are more into computers are like, hey, well, this is a really basic device, but I can do a few nifty things with it.
I'm going to have to take off, but before I go, I wanted to make one more comment about the seed phrase and security stuff, maybe this can help some people. Even if you're just a Windows user, there's two applications that do this compression of files and encryption of files that are free and on Windows, and one's called 7-zip, the number 7-zip, and another one's called WinZip. And both of those programs, 7-zip is supported directly by the Linux operating system. It's part of Linux or Ubuntu. On Windows, you can install either one of those applications, and they both support an encryption in the 7Z or the 7-zip format. So file name .7z, right? And those encryption formats, that 7-zip format is the most secure, hardest to crack encryption. And so what I would hope that everybody does to protect their seed phrases is if you put it in a text file, your seed phrase, or you take a screen capture of it, when your leather wallet or whatever displays it to you, then use one of those programs to compress the file into a .7z file with a password. And so then then nobody can get at it unless they know your password. Obviously, you can't forget your password, right? Otherwise, you can't extract your own seed phrase. But if you do that, then this 7-zip file, this encrypted file, you can put anywhere. You can email it to yourself. You can put it on your cloud storage, location, Google Drive or whatever. And you don't have to worry that if somebody hacks into your email or hacks into your cloud storage or gets onto your hard drive on your computer, they can see that file, but they can't open it. And even if they are a very well-equipped hacker, they're not going to be able to open it. They would need a tremendous amount of computing power to what's the term? Force decrypt? I forget what it's called.
Brute force.
Brute force, yeah, brute force. Basically, to get your seed phrase. So that's just a free tip. Easy to install those programs. There's tons and tons of YouTube videos that'll tell you how to use those if you haven't used it before. But it's just like any other Windows application, super easy to use. In fact, if I remember correctly, with 7-zip, once you install it, it becomes part of your file explorer. So basically, if you have, let's say you have a screen capture file, a .png or JPG or something on your file on your hard drive, you can right click on that file in your Windows File Explorer, and then you'll see the 7-zip entry, and then you highlight that with your mouse, and it'll say compress, and you can compress with password or without password, right? So it's super, super easy to use, and I would recommend everyone to do that. I don't know what you guys are currently using to save your seed phrases. If you're, printing it out on paper and covering it in plastic or engraving it onto metal or concrete, I don't know. But this is a fairly
I just make them my Twitter posts.
yeah, that's a good way to save it. Anyway, that's my parting recommendation for you guys. If you think that's a bad technique, let me know, because that's what I'm doing.
Well, we appreciate you, Brad. And right before you leave, for those who don't know, Brad helps host an awesome show that's been going on since the beginning of time called Purple Pill Fridays. They happen around what? It's like 4 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not Eastern time, so I'm not sure. For me, it's 7 p.m. I think it's 5 Eastern. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So you guys feel free. It's a great show. And honestly, you can catch a lot of the originals in there. I pop in every now and then when I'm not busy, like grocery shopping with my daughter. I haven't had like as much time to pop in lately, but real good show. Make
It's
sure
all
you guys
good.
check it. And thanks again, Brad. We appreciate you.
All right, man. Take it easy, you guys. Keep your tokens safe.
All right, will do. Keep your community safe too. Real quick, I think that's going to bring us to a wrap. We've been going for about 2 hours now. We appreciate everyone who came up, participated.